Happy New Year's Eve. Welcome back to another episode of Stand on Guard. I'm your host, David Krayden. So nice of you to join me on this last day, not only of December, but of 2024. Yes, it's been a tough year for many of us. It's been a tough year in terms of inflation. It's been a tough year for a lot of us with our families. It's been a tough year financially for a lot of us. And that is just starting for me tomorrow. I thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have a little bit of a retrospective today, as well as, I think, breaking some news that nobody else has noticed. And when we come back, I've been saying now for weeks, Justin Trudeau is not going anywhere. I think I can prove that now. So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist. Yes, thank you for joining us again. And I think it's fascinating that Justin Trudeau has actually revealed what he's up to. Here it is. This is the real, I hate to say bombshell, because some people use that every day when it's nothing. This is not a nothing burger, though. I always say, if you want to know what Justin Trudeau's thinking, don't put a microphone in front of his face. See what he says in his videos. See what he says on X. And see what he's been saying consistently over the last 9 to 10 years. Because that's the real Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau's not going to tell you anything over the Christmas holidays. I mean, he's been walking into disaster after disaster. We showed you the clip the other day of the woman in British Columbia who said, get the F out of British Columbia, you suck. Listened to an interview with her yesterday from Rebel News. Fascinating. This is a woman, just happens to be a woman who's very much into parental rights. And this was a classic confrontation. And she explained in the interview, she's not the sort of person who would just go up to the prime minister, or anybody for that matter, and just start using the F word. But watch the interview. It's a fascinating interview because she actually explains why she didn't think it was inappropriate, given what Trudeau has done to children, exposing children to explicit sexuality over the years. So what does Justin Trudeau say in this? Spoke to President, this is Zelensky of Ukraine, this morning to offer my unwavering support and solidarity to the Ukrainian people who have spent another Christmas under attack. We discussed our shared concerns about the Azerbaijan Airlines crash and Russia's ongoing war of aggression. And this is the kicker. As president of the G7 next year, I reiterated the importance we place on peace and freedom for Ukraine. So one of Justin Trudeau's last X posts of the year is, once again, we're going to keep the billions of dollars flowing to Ukraine. And I'm going to be at the G7 conference next June in Kananaskis. Obviously, he believes he's going to be the prime minister in June. He's going to be representing Canada. Whether or not he manages to bypass an election until then and remains leader of the Liberal Party, or he thinks he's going to win a snap election in February or March. Justin Trudeau believes he will be at the G7. When he says president of the G7, no, he's not talking crazy. As a lot of you might know, that simply means Canada is hosting the G7 in 2025. And he believes he's going to be there, representing Canada as the host nation. Now, what's I say? Nobody has picked up on this. Nobody has picked up on what Justin Trudeau said in this post. I think it's significant. I think it's highly significant because it reveals that Justin Trudeau does believe there's life after death, after political death. The guy, and let's have a look at how bad things are. And I'll get to, there's another great little item here from the National Post on Charlie Angus, Charlie Angus, who is one of the most, I don't know, how would you, I knew Charlie Angus on a parliamentary committee, and he wasn't such a bad guy in those days. He had a sense of humor, but he's lost his sense of humor. He's just an irascible old left-wing nutcake now. And it's unfortunate to see a man decline this way. But of course, why do I think Justin Trudeau is going nowhere? All right, he's lost his Ontario caucus. 51 MPs want him out. He's lost his Atlantic caucus. It's about 20 MPs there. He's lost his Quebec caucus. Now, Justin Trudeau cannot survive without Quebec, Atlantic Canada, and Ontario. That's where all of his support is. He ain't got a lot of support in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. And it's all in Quebec and Ontario, based in Atlantic Canada. Those are his strongest points. And of course, so add the numbers up. It's over 50% of the caucus now wants him to go. Now you might say, well, Justin Trudeau sees the numbers too. He can do basic arithmetic. He got through grade 12. Apparently took some post-secondary education as well. But it's hard to believe that at times. But yeah, he can do arithmetic. He can figure out, hey, the numbers aren't there for me to win a caucus election. He also knows the caucus can't boot him out. The caucus can do absolutely nothing. So Justin Trudeau is biding his time until he can come back in January 27th and say, sorry, folks, it's too late. Donald Trump has just been sworn in as president. His inauguration was 7 days ago. You've got me. You're going to have to live with that, folks. That's what Justin Trudeau is going to say when he comes back. Now, we know Pierre Poilievre has, I think, a pretty good scheme to get things going at the committee level in January so they can have a non-confidence motion ready to go on January 27th when the House resumes. The House should be resuming, by the way, next week, not on January 27th, because these people get enough vacation time. I worked on the Hill for many years. I know how hard they work. Some of them work very hard. Some of them don't work very hard at all. And believe me, they love to go back to the writing because it's a lot easier. And they would spend 6 months out of their time back in the writing if they could, because it's a lot easier than going through the daily rigmarole of Parliament Hill. So they should be coming back next week. So what happens if Pierre Poilievre can do this? Here's a real interesting article from the National Post. This is Charlie Angus, as I said. Charlie Angus was responding. This is the only reason the National Post got this story. Charlie Angus was responding to a National Post story about Jagmeet Singh saying, we're going to bring the government down. We're going to have a non-confidence motion in the new year, which is about 12 hours away right now. The new year, anyway. Now, of course, you have to say, well, okay, Jagmeet, does that mean sometime in the new year, like maybe October? Does it mean June? Does it mean immediately? Jagmeet Singh can't tell the truth to save his life, and he can't be clear to save his life. Charlie Angus can be clear, but apparently Charlie Angus doesn't even talk to his leader. Charlie's not running in the next election. He's got a crazy bill out there that hopefully will die with this parliament that is going to criminalize any promotion of the oil and gas industry, any promotion of fossil fuels. He's got a bill which the Liberals will probably support because they're that crazy these days. That's the last gasp of life from Charlie Angus, except I guess he figured, hey, I want to go down fighting here. I'm not going to support Pierre Poilievre's procedural games, meaning I'm not going to support a non-confidence motion that's gone through committee and that's ready to go when we come back on January 27th. I'm going to wait for something else. Now, Jagmeet Singh hasn't even commented on this. Charlie Angus thinks, I guess he's the new leader of the NDP, at least until he retires. But what the hell is Angus saying here? Is he going to be the sole member of the NDP voting with Trudeau? Or is he saying what Jagmeet Singh hasn't got the guts, the intestinal fortitude to say? Meaning, we're going to wait again. We really hate this Liberal government. We really can't stand Justin Trudeau. He needs to resign, but we're going to keep supporting him until further notice. As I explained yesterday, Jagmeet Singh is going to get his pension now. Because even if the election falls in March, which it will, if the government falls in late January, early February, Jagmeet Singh's safe. There's always at least 5 weeks in the election campaign. So he's going to get his pension. And hopefully he's going to be defeated in the next election and we'll never see Jagmeet Singh again in front of a camera. Go back to practicing your feeble law. God knows I would never hire you as a lawyer. I don't know who the hell would want to hire you as a lawyer because you've been one of the worst members of parliament, one of the worst so-called opposition leaders in the history of Canada. But we'll see. We'll see. So, what does that all mean when we have our election? Look at this. And this is not the usual conservative favorable polling. This is Angus Reid. Angus Reid, generally over the years, and I'm saying everything that has been skewed, but they generally pop up on the side of the Liberals in terms of the questions they ask, because polling is all about the questions you ask in many cases. If you want to get the response, you will ask the question that will get you that response. That's what polling is often about. But when it comes to do you despise Justin Trudeau? Do you want him out? Do you want a new government? It's very difficult to camouflage that. So this is what Angus Reid, 241 seats. That is massively over what Brian Mulroney got in 1984 and way over the 208 seats that John D. from Baker won in 1958. So, but the interesting thing is the official opposition, which I have been predicting for quite some time, the Bloc Québécois, NDP, third place. Liberals, fourth place. 6 seats. That's just 1 seat above official party status, which is 5. That's about where the progressive conservatives were after Brian Mulroney left and after Kim Campbell was decimated in the 1993 election. That's where Justin Trudeau is leading the Liberal Party. 6 seats. So how does Justin feel about this? As I've told you before, not a problem. We're going to get over this. I was behind in 2015. I was in third place in 2015. I won the election. I'll do it again. He has said that repeatedly. And like I said, if you want to know what Justin Trudeau really believes, you want to know what Justin Trudeau really is thinking, don't look for his latest statements in the media or his Christmas message. Look at what he's consistently said over the years. And one of those things is, I was in third place in 2015 and I still won. I can do it again. That's what he believes. So here's Jay. They found Justin on the ski hill, just like his pop. Well, if his pop was Pierre Trudeau, who loved to ski in Whistler, by the way. Pierre Trudeau loved to go out to BC to ski. fact, he was actually out at my hometown in Washington one time skiing. But Justin Trudeau, of course, he was sighted. Yes, it's like a Bigfoot sighting. He was sighted in BC, and there he is doing his blackface routine. I mean, he just can't stop. Anyway, we're going to show you some clips here. And this is so enjoyable because it's the end of the year, and I want to thank everybody right now for making this one hell of a good year. You have made this station viable to the point where I'm saying, yeah, I think we'll do it again. In fact, I'm going to do it twice a day in 2025, as much as possible. I won't commit to that 7 days a week, but I'll do it twice a day as much as possible. Because as I said, I've got lots more time on my hands because I'm not working full time anymore for the other news agency, which was a huge shock. But thank you for everything you've done to make me believe in the station. It's very important. So here's Justin with Zelensky. No, sorry.
It seems like we're seeing each other every few weeks now, from Japan at the G7 to when I visited Kyiv a few weeks ago to now here. But it's a really important time for us to be always making sure that we're giving you all the best support you can. It's been an important time to come together, to have you at NATO. There's a path forward, and we're continuing to work on getting all the support Ukraine needs during this incredibly pivotal time, as collectively we stand up not just for Ukraine, but against Russia and everything it's trying to destabilize in your country and around the world. As you know, Canada will always be there for Ukraine with everything you need, and we will continue to. It's great to see.
Okay, so that didn't happen last week, but that's indicative of this wonderful relationship that Justin Trudeau has with Volodymyr Zelensky. I find it very curious that Justin Trudeau is honest in his post about his meeting with Zelensky. Obviously, the two of them are very close. Are they close about certain things they share in common? Certain elements they both use? Are they very close in terms of their relationship? Well, I don't know, but it suggests to me, whenever Justin Trudeau gets together with his good friend, Zelensky, he wants to open up and tell the world about what he's really up to. And I think the reason we're learning about this in Justin Trudeau's X post is because he put it all out when he was talking to Zelensky, because they're very close. They're very close. And he was able to talk to Zelensky just like he was a blood brother, or maybe even closer. And I think that's indicative of what that post was all about. You can just see the love there. It is so incredible. Let's have a few more. Let's walk down memory lane a bit more here with Justin Trudeau.
Again, thanks for your visit to Ukraine, and thanks for...
We have seen around the world a rise of populist right-wing forces in just about every democracy that we've seen. And it is of concern to see political parties choosing to instrumentalize anger, fear, division, anxiety. My approach has always been to respond to it, to understand it, and to look to solve it, to roll up our sleeves, work hard, and with ambition for this country and for our future. And I continue to be convinced The Canadians are thoughtful about the challenges we're facing and ready to see them solved, rather than just allow themselves to be have their anger amplified without any solutions offered.
Yeah, he's rolling up his sleeves. How many times a day does Justin Trudeau say he's rolling up his sleeves? How many dozens of times has he said that as Prime Minister? Every major speech that Justin Trudeau has made about gun laws, about school lunches, about marijuana, about, well, shall we say, the MAD program, I'm sorry, the MAID program. Yeah, not the MAD program, even though it is MAD. You know, Trudeau's euthanasia program. He's always rolling up his sleeves. Quite a bit of that. Anyway, there's so much good stuff here, but the guy is just impossible to listen to because it's just, I'm so disgusted with these Europeans electing these right-wing populists. You know, we have to do better in Canada. Here's another one.
The RCMP commissioner stated earlier, they have clear and compelling evidence that agents of the Government of India have engaged in and continue to engage in activities that pose a significant threat to public safety.
You remember this one? Trudeau denied he even had this news conference. The biggest lie of the year. Now, that's a big prize when it comes to Justin Trudeau. This has got to be the biggest prize of the year for lying, for absolute sheer mendacity. He made this claim that India was responsible for these heinous crimes, and the RCMP backed him up on it. As he said, that's the only truthful thing he said in this interview. The RCMP did have a news conference and say, Justin's right. India's to blame. India's been up to horrible things. Problem is, just a couple of weeks later, Justin Trudeau said, no, it was some whistleblower who made that claim. I don't know where that came from. Because the Privy Council office said, it's all a lie. There's no investigation into India. He made it up. This is all crap. So here he's got the two people who are trying to replace him as leader. There's good old Melanie behind him and Dominique LeBlanc, his best friend, for probably going on 40 years now. They're backing him up on this incredible lie that there's some investigation going on about India. Never happened. Why did Trudeau want to do this? Let's not talk about China, please. Let's talk about India being the evil factor here. No, I haven't been getting money from China. The Liberal Party hasn't been getting money from China. No, it's India has been doing this stuff, and it's just because they just want to get these Khalistanis in Canada. One of the most decrepit moments in Trudeau's terrible tenure as Prime Minister.
This includes clandestine information gathering techniques, coercive behavior targeting South Asian Canadians, and involvement in over a dozen threatening and violent acts, including murder. This is
all lies, completely fabricated. And he had the I wouldn't call it audacity. There's a positive connotation to that word. He had the gall, the unmitigated gall, to make these claims at a news conference and then deny it all weeks later.
That agents of the government, they have clear and compelling evidence.
I have to go to the next one because we're running out of time. But this is classic Justin Trudeau at his best. Lying.
Conservative premiers across this country are misleading Canadians, are not telling the truth. 8 out of 10 families across the country in federal backstop jurisdictions make more money with the Canada carbon rebate than it costs with the price on pollution.
Now, this was just after Trudeau paid a consultant. And by the way, consultants are paid more money by the Trudeau government than the entire Canadian Armed Forces are getting. True. Andrew Leslie, retired General Andrew Leslie, testified to that. So one of his consultants said, hey, Justin, try calling it the Canada Carbon Rebate. Don't even refer to the carbon tax. Say it's all about a rebate, not a tax. So Justin heard this, and he went to a news conference to say that 8 out of 10 Canadians are getting more money back from the Canadian carbon rebate. It's a lie. The parliamentary budget officer has said that twice now. This is a blatant lie. All you have to do, though, is watch Question Period once, if Justin Trudeau's there. And he will repeat this lie for you every time he's present in the House of Commons. And so will his ministers. They love it. Let's listen to a bit more.
So not only are we fighting climate change and reducing emissions, but we're putting more money back in the pockets of families, particularly in low and middle income families across the country. It's basic math that the Parliamentary Budget Officer has confirmed time and time again. But for ideological reasons,
and once again, lie. The Parliamentary Budget Officer has confirmed the exact opposite. But the facts never matter to Justin Trudeau. Why deal with facts when you can just lie your way out?
Reasons of pure partisanship, Conservative politicians across this country are not telling the truth to Canadians. The truth.
Now that is a classic moment. It's the Conservative politicians who aren't telling the truth. Now I want to show a couple more here before we leave, because it's incredible.
A lot of angry anti-vaxxers there, but there were also mingled in among them some supporters who were feeling perhaps beset, but brave enough to come out and stand beside screaming people who weren't wearing masks, or threatening all sorts of violence. And in that particular moment where I turned to look over the balcony, there was a group of young women, specifically racialized women, who were waving.
Oh, they were racialized women. What? Meaning what? Racialized is a term that means nothing. You can be racialized in white. You can be racialized in black. It really doesn't matter. So, anyway, let's watch a bit more of this.
Some supporters who were feeling perhaps beset, but brave enough to come out and stand beside screaming people who weren't wearing masks, or threatening all sorts of violence. And in that particular moment where I turned to look over the balcony, there was a group of young women, specifically racialized women, who were waving at me. And when I smiled and said, thank you for being there, and yes, greeted them, and they cheered and said, thank you, I was talking to them. And it is something that we have to reflect on, that even in Canada, where, yes, there are angry mobs who are threatening violence and hurling racist epithets, there are people coming out to stand.
Now, this is one of his lowest moments. This is not from 2024, but I play this to show you. Justin Trudeau is an habitual, chronic liar. He's talking about the Freedom Convoy. Here. These were the bad people, according to Justin Trudeau, who were peacefully protesting COVID mandates that Justin Trudeau never even acknowledged himself. He didn't follow his own rules. He knew they were BS. I don't really believe personally he got 2 or 3 vaccinations, excuse me. I don't personally believe he masked up when the cameras weren't on. But Justin Trudeau has the gall to say, once again, unmitigated gall, to lie about his political opponents as being racist, misogynistic, and he kept that theme going throughout 2024. If you disagree with Justin Trudeau, you're racist and misogynistic. Even though Justin Trudeau is the guy who did blackface for years, Justin Trudeau is the guy who has intimidated at least a dozen female Liberal MPs and cabinet ministers. That's what Justin Trudeau is all about. Now, let's close with this one because this is beautiful.
His mistake and has apologized. But this is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and by extension to all Canadians. I think particularly of Jewish MPs and all members of the Jewish community across the country who are commemorating Yom Kippur today. I think it's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine as we did last week with announcing further measures to stand with Ukraine in Russia's illegal war against it.
So this is, again, Justin Trudeau's attempt to justify his inviting a former Nazi to the House of Commons. Did it work? Not really. But I guess the point is, what are we dealing with here? We're dealing with a man who's finally having his future catch up with him. And it's about time. It's about time. Justin Trudeau has gotten away with so many things over the years. It's time he paid the price. And this is why I'm very happy that I don't think he's going to step down as a leader of the Liberal Party, because I think he deserves to get the shellacking of his life. I said this, I know, I'll say it again. He deserves to get the shellacking of not only his life, but the life of any Liberal Party leader, of any Prime Minister who has violated the trust of Canadians the way that Justin Trudeau has. He deserves what he's getting in the next election. Let's not see him walk away from it. Let's not see him find a way to let somebody else suffer for his transgressions. We're looking at an election in the coming new year, and we'll go back to that original statement. Oh, sorry. Where are we? Yes, I'll go back to this original statement. Justin Trudeau expects to be Prime Minister next June. He said so. I'm not saying it. I have said it. But Justin Trudeau is saying it himself here. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'll be back again tomorrow with all the news you need to know. And let's continue to resolve to resist in all the ways that we need to do. Thank you so much for joining us.